Sergeant Parks here for the Grumpy Gnome I Hate Everything podcast. I'm just doing a little epilogue from the follow-up from my last story about myself because I didn't have anyone volunteering yet, but I think some people are going to come around and start telling their stories, which is great. But this one I'm going to take the time to explain to everyone what the Osprey Crash is all about and why that was so significant and how it pertains to everything and how it kind of set the tone for my future leadership or whatever for the Marine Corps. But yeah, so when this is posted, it'll be April 8th, 2025 will be 25 years since the Osprey Crash on April 8th, 2000, and that involved India Company 35. Involved my squad, which was first squad, first platoon. Involved my buddy's squad, Sergeant Jackson, who was second squad, first platoon. And then it involved weapons attachments. And then of course the air wing bubbas that lost their lives as well. So I'm gonna cover that because everyone has, no one really knows the whole story, and I'm just gonna try to get that out of the way. But at first I'm gonna cover the epilogue to. So when I was trying to go back through everything and find pictures and stuff of the Osprey stuff in India Company 35. I came across a bunch of stuff. So to kind of follow up on the epilogue of my last video, just a heads up, all that stuff about the drinking, that pertains to me. Just don't let it take control of you. You're going to end up like a sad sack of shit like me. So that's the general gist of everything I was saying there. But as far as, so I found my original activation letter when I was searching for crap. So I'll read you the first line. You have been ordered to active duty from your residence in support of the national emergency declared under Presidential Proclamation 7463 of 14 September 2001 as prescribed in Executive Order 13223. So that's the first line. And it's the subject heading. Ordered to presidential recall. Case of Sergeant Jacob C. Parkinson. Yeah. And down here it says estimated cost to activate me $23,664. So just to give you an idea what that is. So I'm an infantry. I'm grunt 0311. Just the grunt as can be. So a guy working supply, never leaving the wire, never even having a round fired at him, makes the same exact amount. He gets hazard pay for being over there, just being supplied, but he makes the same exact amount as we do going outside the wire infantry. So that's just, a little fun fact. But yeah, so I was right on with my statement when I said I wrote a 17-page debrief on my platoon commander why he was such a fuck up. So, and why he should have been relieved of command. That's what should have happened. Me, Staff Sergeant Ruiz, and Sergeant McDonald should have got together and just relieved that motherfucker of command. That's all that should really happened. But like I said, it was a long day. And when I said I was tired, I meant everyone was tired. No one was, rested. From the moment we arrived in country. I mean, the moment we started training, no one was rested. So when I meant tired mentally. So, I wrote my debrief, and I meant tired mentally because that motherfucker, just the whole deployment, it's example after example on here. Here's it typed up. Example after example of him just, because he was a Pogue reservist his whole damn career. Artillery Pogue reservist. I mean, no offense. But no active duty in there whatsoever. So, it's like putting a boot PFC in charge of a whole platoon. It was stupid. So, like, for instance, Fraser's team got sent across the danger area in the middle of Zero Dark 30, during the Fallujah offensive, and Potter got hit with shrapnel right in the chest. If he'd have been taller, he would have been gutted. So, that's just one instance. Another instance, we were ordered never to go down this road ever by the mate, our CO. Ever. It was a standing order. And I told him that when we were on that Zero Dark 30 patrol. He was in the lead vehicle. I was like, you can't go down this way. There's an 80-foot drop-off. And he goes, I know where I'm going, Sergeant Parkinson. So, unlike you, blah, blah, blah. It was just, from the get-go. So everyone can attest to it. But yeah, so We should have just relieved his hazard of command, and me, Sergeant McDonald, and Staff Sergeant Ruiz, and just let Staff Sergeant Ruiz take over. He would have listened to the sergeants, planned everything out with us, and it would have been gravy. But that's what should happen. So when in my debrief, I did find out. So when I did tell the story of that that firefight, when we started finding all those IEDs, I was pretty damn close. So and just to give you a heads up, it was an ambush. It wasn't just on my side of the fucking road with first squad. I mean, B game side, on third squad was getting hit too. So I'm not trying to take away. They were getting just fucking peppered just like we were. Just the RPG guy just happened to be on our side. And also, I didn't give enough credit to Morales' team. Looking through here, they found all that shit. They found the and we did find that RPG from that Haji that vaporized. So got him. So I didn't give enough credit to Morales' team when they're bouncing around, taking fire. And also, when I hesitated when I was talking about Perry and the taking fire from the rooftop, I believe that's his story to tell during that interaction. I wasn't very pleasant with him during that interaction, during all that chaos, so I felt that was his time. He should tell it, and Delta was there too. So, but I wasn't very pleasant during that exchange, during that firefight and the ambush. So, I figured he would just, if he ever does tell the story, I figured he'd be the one to be able to tell it. So that's why I didn't really get into it. But yeah, it was about, that's pretty much, I was pretty much right on. And when I, just cutting the dudes loose, that was right on. Everything was right on about that. But I just remember him coming over the radio. That's not our mission. Taking captives is not our mission. So I just remember, I'm like, I thought that was the overall mission of Iraq. Just if we can't kill them, snatch their asses up. So that's why it didn't go over well with the whole squad. So especially after everything that happened. But again, highlights. B game, his squad was taking fire too. It was a literal ambush. So just didn't want to take away from that or anything like that. So just want to get that out there. And also that B game became squad leader, thank God, early on in Iraq for third squad. So that was just, it needed to be done a long, long time ago. So just not saying that he was with me the whole time or anything like that. So I just wanted to make that clear. But so for right now, see in my, the timeline with the squad, I'm hoping my squad members will come on here and fix some of that timeline in my memory. Memory's memory, man. So I talked about that. Since all that shit happened, and my men didn't get any combat decoration. I mean, DeVecchio got it for that day, finding all the trigger sources, but Culpepper and I got ours for different reasons. But as far as some of the rest of my men in my squad, and just like on the other side of the road, B game squad, and fucking B game deserves fucking combat decoration for his actions that day during the ambush. So just the squad members do, and I'd like to if I can ever get a chance to push some through, I'd like to for some of these guys. They deserve them, and they're long overdue. I just wanted to put that out there. And also, I did forget to mention Operation River Blitz. I think that's what it was called for our last Operations Bravo Company. That's when that Haji vehicle filled with VBIEDs and fully armed men just came roaring through the checkpoint, and second platoon just lit them up. So that was the footage in my video. So all that footage came from Operation River Blitz. So so that's all that destroyed vehicle and everything like it there, and the one that's peppered across the way, that's all right from Operation River Blitz. And there was a survivor. He was peppered. I mean, peppered. So he wasn't going to make it, but Gunny Hoffman arranged aid to get him aid. So that's what we're supposed to do. So Gunny Hoffman got him arranged for aid at the battalion checkpoint or somewhere. So me and Recorder had to load the fucker up, and while we're in transit, Doc Evans was all over it, trying to save that motherfucker. I mean, I disagree, but Doc Evans every life-saving thing he knew in his head, he tried to save that enemy combatant. So that's, kudos to Doc Evans. I really feel bad for not mentioning that in the last one. But yeah, that dude didn't make it. So yeah, we dropped him off at the battalion checkpoint. Me and Ricoder just dumped him off. But yeah, Doc Evans never stopped. So I mean, that's definitely kudos to him. And if he doesn't get a decoration for that, I know it was enemy combatant, but it just goes to show. It just goes to show that that's what we're trained to do, and that's we don't see. His training just kicked in, and it was awesome to witness. So that's just what I want to say. So now I'm going to talk about the Osprey Crash and how that was just a really fucked up ordeal, and I just want to get it kind of cleared out there, and I hope the family members of the pilots see this, because I know the Marine Corps blamed the pilots, and their families had to deal with that shit for years and decades. So yeah, I hope they're getting cleared, because I know some shit's going on, but I hope that those pilots get cleared, because I'm about to prove it was not fucking pilot error. I'm about to prove that right now. So I'm going to begin. So like I said, it's going to be the 25th anniversary. So I'm going to begin about the Osprey Crash. So at the time, I was a Sergeant Parkinson. Again, at India Company 35, everyone knew me as Sergeant Parks. That we got started because of my buddy Dunn. He's the one that originally called me Parks. We were the same rank, and he just started when we were, I think, PFCs. So yeah, and then it just picked up. He was pissed about that it just caught on. So it just carried over because of Burlingame. He brought it over with him from 35 when I ran into Bravo Company when I got activated. So yeah, so I was with I was first squad, first platoon. Sergeant Jackson, who lost half his squad as well, was second squad, first platoon. And for the longest time, I thought I was first squad, second platoon that was happening. So, a little weird coinkydink for my boas that, I was first squad, second platoon in Iraq with. So, but no, I was first squad, first platoon. So, of course, India Company 35, we were a boat company. It happened April 8, 2000. Like I said, boat company, we were just, it was just weird how we ended up, working helos, and we've been working them for months too. So, but not the Ospreys, but we had just been doing helo ops for just like months prior. And I guess maybe it was, working up towards this, maybe this was the, classified information we just didn't know about training ops and the upcoming Osprey movement, but we just didn't really know. So yeah, we didn't really know why we weren't doing boats anymore for a little bit. But I'll get on with the first question. Okay. I think I just gave that to you. Yeah, so background of India Company 35. Why was the company in Yuma? Okay, so like I said, I don't understand why we were taken out of the... India Company was out of rotation to go back over to Okinawa. So to be honest, I have no clue why we were out of rotation. But we weren't going back to Okinawa. And so we were sitting around doing, and while we didn't go back to Okinawa, we started doing helo ops. Again, no clue. We never saw the boats. We never went back to Del Mar. We never went back to Coronado when we should have. We should have been scheduled for that crap, especially with the boots, that just got there. So they needed to be trained up on the boats. So I don't know why we started doing helo ops, but that was why we ended up in Yuma, Arizona. It's an air station, but we weren't really on the base. We were just off the base. Stuck out in the middle of the desert in GP tents, because grunts can't be on a pogue base. No sir, that's the unwritten rule. You can't have grunts on a pogue base. Treat them like shit. No, we're just too wild, I guess. And also the female Marines. Oh my God, those are grunts. Not tooting our horn. I'm just saying it's just that aura. Just we're always just distant. So that's why we were in Yuma. So we went down there to do some helo ops. We didn't even know about the Osprey when we got briefed that we're going to Yuma to do helo ops. We just thought it was more training out in the middle of the desert. So yeah, we went down there, and that's why we're going down there. We really had no clue about the Ospreys. No clue we were about to be training on those. Who were the members of the squads? The Boots, Neely, Solar, and Second Lieutenant Kennedy. So here I know I'm gonna forget a lot of people, but the members of the squad. So, like I said, it was my squad and my buddy's squad, Sergeant Jackson. B-Game will recognize the name. I'm sure he's going to recognize all these names. We had just gotten a dump of boots in, probably 6 months prior to the Osprey Crash. Maybe, yeah, 6 months. Probably 6 to 8 months prior. We got a fresh dump of boots. And so that's what we were doing, just working with them. So I'm going to read off a list of names at the end of this. And so I'll go through them and I'll try to say something about each one if I can remember them. But like I said, some of those are weapons attachments. And they were boots as well. So like I said, we just got a whole dump of boots in. And so that and a lot of new Marines. So Neely went to boot camp with me, actually. So we were all in that crop of grunts under General Kulak that just, boot camp to SOI to the fleet together. So he was with us. Medina, myself, Maxwell, maybe B-Game might have been in that whole crop at that time. He might have been in that whole boot camp with us. So I don't know, but he was around that. I'm sure he's around that time. Atterbury, I think, was earlier. And along with, I'm going to talk about this next Marine, but Neely was a corporal at the time of his passing. He came in with me, just a good Marine, just a really good Marine. So he was coming off of injury, and I'll talk about that later, but he was coming off of shoulder surgery, and so, but I'll talk about that later. Us, grunts, we kept, like broke dick, broke this, broke dick. Even though he injured it in training, we didn't understand what a torn labrum was. We didn't understand how that made a difference to train. I didn't know that, that, oh shit, you can't pick up a rifle. Oh hell, we just, broke dick, fucking suck it up, grunts. That's what us did. That's what we did, So I feel bad now because, he really did torn labrums. I mean, ligaments torn in his shoulder. So we didn't know about that crap back in the early 2000s and late 90s. So that was Neely. So he actually came with us. So we came up together, in India Company came all together from SOI together. We were in SOI together. Just he hung around with Maxwell a lot. That's what I remember. But, pleasant Marine, good natured guy. Just your normal good Marine, not a shitbag, not anything like that. Just your a good Marine. Solar. Solar, he came to India Company with the dump before me. So he was 6 months senior than me, and he died a corporal as well. So like a lot of these I just really passed up. And then you'll see Sergeant Jackson, he was just, you want to talk about over Marine. He was over Marine, man. Sergeant Jackson just killed everything he ever attempted. So, he came 6 months after me. So, it's just weird how that all worked out. So, Solar, he showed up 6 months for me, was done in that group. And, he showed up then, and, he knew, he was kind of like Delta. He just knew his shit. And when he was on his off time, he was studying Marine manuals because he was a really short Marine. I'm not saying anything because I'm short, but he was, short. So, he was just like always just trying to be ultramarine. And he was a good damn Marine. He knew his shit. When you talk about any kind of field manual, he knew his shit. He knew more than me. I was that typical jock Marine. I'm gonna, jock grunt. I'm just gonna sit there and fucking drink and just party. Yeah, I just, like Jackson, even though he took, killed everything he did, but there's like a third squad leader was Sergeant Hunt, and he came in with Jackson. So them two caught up with me because they got meritorious promoted to sergeant. So we all got promoted to sergeant on the same day. So first, second, and third squad leaders of first platoon all got promoted the same day for sergeant. Right then and there. So, I got promoted in meritorious corporal, which made me time and grade for sergeant. So we all just ended up getting sergeant at the same time. And I gave Hunt that meritorious sergeant because First Sergeant Wickham brought us into the office. And he goes, "I have a quota. It's between you and Sergeant. It's between you and Corporal Hunt." And I was like, we were both standing right there. I'm like, "You can give it to him because I'm about to pick up right anyway. I'm in zone. And obviously, I'm freaking 290 and above PFT. At the time, expert shooter, all that shit. But expert, on the range, and all that shit. So I was gonna get it anyway. So he got it, and so that looks good for him on his record. But so we all got promoted at the same time. So first, second, and I think B-Game definitely remembers Hunt. So so Solar was just always locked on. He came in there. So he was a team leader of mine. And I believe Neely was my team leader too, but Neely might have been in Action Jackson. I mean, we call him Action Jackson, or you'll see we'll call him Ranger Jackson later. But yeah, so we saw him. So Neely might have been in Jackson's squad, but Solar was definitely mine. He was my team leader. Thank God, he just like thank God I had Delta in Iraq. Just they knew their shit. They knew their tactical shit. I just took to it naturally, like Jackson did, and so did Hunt. We just took to it. I'm not saying Delta definitely took to it naturally. You've seen him in pictures. I mean, the dude is just picturesque Marine. Picturesque, actually, Marsoc Marine, really. But, I just kind of just relied on just remembering shit and just reaction instead of just, like, actually trying to study it up, which I should have fucking studied up. But yeah, Delta was just amazing, and then Solar was just like kind of like that, just always wanting to train Marines too on his off time. I remember when I'd be just wasted on the catwalk. I'm like, fucking Solar, what are you telling those boots that shit for? What are you getting them around for? They just want to drink, man. Leave them fuck alone. He's like, Sergeant Parks, I'm fucking training them for the next generation. And he was just locked on like that, so he was always training them, just giving them quizzes and shit, and so he was just making sure they knew their stuff and make sure they're prepared 2 ranks above, like you're supposed to be. So, Second Lieutenant Kennedy, he was a boot lieutenant who just joined us. I don't know how many months prior, but he was just brand new. So I'll get into him more later. But he was not one of those butter bars that just show up. Oh, let's fucking run everywhere. I'm gonna run until the running's done. I don't know what happens to you fuckers in OCS, but apparently you guys run everywhere. So, leave that shit in OCS, and when you get there, listen to your goddamn squad leaders. We know what the fuck's going on. Just talk to us. Pull us aside, get us some beer, and just sit there and say, hey, pick our brains. Hey, what's going on, Corporal so-and-so? What's going on, Sergeant so-and-so? What's going on with this? How's this unit running? Don't just come in there and start fucking running us all over the place. Now, when we get to the field, yeah, you're all that shit, all that tactical shit fresh in your memory. That's when we should be fucking absolutely paying attention. But when we're in the rear, try to learn how that unit works before you start running us all over the goddamn camp. So that's my advice to butter bars. But no, Second Lieutenant Kennedy was not like that. As soon as he got there, he did exactly that. Came over to, at the time, me, Sergeant Hunt, Sergeant Jackson, and Sergeant Dunn all lived in an apartment out in town in Clemente. So he would come over there and he'd bring us some beers, and we'd sit there and tell him, hey, this is how it got. Now, Dunn wasn't in our platoon. He wasn't, he finally moved over to the armory, but yeah, he'd come over and sit there and just drink with us squad leaders. So, yeah. And that's how you're supposed to do it as a butter bar. You're supposed to learn that shit. Because we've been there. So we know the men and all that and what they're capable of. So, yeah, I do... I do remember him doing that, and he was locked on like that. And all of us talked about it too after he left. There was no shit talking, no nothing. He just looked a picturesque, infantry officer, and we just all had that feeling like this guy's gonna be good. This guy's gonna be awesome. We just knew he was gonna lead the right way, and he's gonna lead by. I'm not saying all infantry officers don't lead by example. There was like Lieutenant Kimber I had before that. I had Lieutenant Kimber was another platoon commander. He was just a stud. I played football with him. It's where I found all these pictures because I was looking for all this stuff. Yeah, so, I played football with Lieutenant Kimber. He was amazing. You want to talk about stud Marine. And then there was Lieutenant Jenkins, who was my platoon commander at the time. Them two came in together. Another knows everything tactically, Marine and officer. So those two are great officers. But like Lieutenant Kennedy came in, and we had like a rough crop of officers after those two left and became captains and moved on. Then we had a rough crop, and then we got Second Lieutenant Kennedy, and amazing. I thought he was just a great lieutenant and all of the squad leaders thought so. So that was just a little introduction to some of the cast of what's about to happen. Okay, so next question. Why were myself and Sergeant Jackson chosen for the operation? Oh, wow. Okay, so all right, like I said, once Jackson showed up to the unit, he showed up like 6 months after. I was always locked on, and I was getting, like I said, I got promoted meritorious corporal. I was always getting thrown up to all this shit, and but I always excelled in the PFT and all that shit. So just I don't know, the normal fucking Stellar Marine that doesn't want to be a Stellar Marine but is a Stellar Marine. It's just that's the way it was. But once Jackson showed up, Hunt was always motivated, just super motivated. But Jackson was another level. He was another just fit state champion wrestler. Just he reminded me of Medina, and they were just alike. I mean, but Medina was just my best friend. So me and Medina went through some other shit, but yeah, he just killed everything, any PFT. Before I was like the top PFT in the company, usually. So no, he smoked me every time. So Jackson went off to Ranger School and just killed it there too, man. He killed it there, and their platoon killed it. He went and got his jump rings. We gave him so much shit when he came back. Oh, Ranger Jackson, oh, Ranger Jackson. Fucking jealous as fuck. Yeah, we were. So I'd love to have had a chance to go to Ranger School. I remember him calling me, and they're from Ranger School, and they're thinking about sending me. And then he was like, "Oh man, it's just like a fourth phase of SOI. It's all it is, man. This is a cakewalk." I was like, "Oh man, that'd been great." But some officer came down, and usually the officers got the quota. But Jackson, there's no way they can deny him the Ranger quota, because he was just born and bred for that. I'm sure he ended up MARSOC, but I don't know. I don't think Medina ever mentioned him, so I don't know. So, but I know if Jackson went to Iraq and he was in charge of somebody, you guys were storming the fucking forts, and I'm sure you guys were kicking ass, and he cared about his Marines too. So don't take that away. He wasn't one of those hard charging Marines that just fuck my Marines, I'm just gonna get all the awards. No, he wasn't like that. Jackson was he cared about his Marines too. So, but yeah, that's why so the reason why I got selected, because while he was at Ranger School, they had a battalion squad leaders course, and this is where Solar got injured. So when I was a corporal, we all went to squad leaders course for the battalion, and I took the top battalion squad leader. So that's why I was Skyline. My name was up there, and it gets worse too. But yeah, that's why I was Skyline. Because I took the top squad leader, and I was looking. I have a CERTCOM. I got my squad leader certificate, but I had a CERTCOM of that. I have a CERTCOM of every damn thing else, and then so I went and found my first SRB and all that shit and all the records. I'm gonna go on a little admin rant here, so bear with me, admin fucking pogues. You always fuck up our pay, but back in the 90s and early 2000s, for all this computer shit and all the high-speed crap they have now, yeah, I'm taking off my glasses. That's how bad I'm going to get on this rant about the admin posts. We used to have to take our awards, so we'd get the awards awarded to us. They didn't go through admin first. They would come to us in the company. We'd get them, have a little formation, we'd get these awards, or CERTCOMs or whatever. And you guys got me down for like 3 meritorious mass. I only have like 1. I can only find 1. And then you're missing like, they're up on my wall. You're missing like 6 CERTCOMs, you dicks. Yeah. So you used to have to take them up there, and then you would have to leave it with them and pray they would put it in your fucking SRB. You just, here you go, and they'd be like, yeah, okay. And those dicks behind the desk are, fucking, I'm not gonna say y'all are all bad. I know there's some of y'all are looking at these fucking schools that we get, these CERTCOMs, these awards that we're getting, like, fuck no, I'm not putting that in as jealous motherfuckers. Put that shit in our SRB, man. That shit's important to us later in life. So, yeah, that's my little admin rant about the admin pogues. I mean, you guys fucked us on some of our shit. So thank God, it's all electronic and high speed nowadays. But, yeah, I was looking for my CERTCOM for becoming the number 1 squad leader. But that's why I was Skylined. So, those squad leaders will tell you they were fucking there. But that Solar got hurt there. So he fucked up his ankle real bad while we were in squad leaders course. And, so, him and Neely were just both just on the sidelines, and I remember Solar just going around the second story of the catwalk on crutches and his leg, in a cast and all this shit. And then I remember him trying to break up a fight between me and Dunn. Me and Dunn just used to get fucking wasted. 151 Bacardi, just as soon as Friday hit, we were just doing it. That ball on, and then we'd always just beat on each other out in the volleyball court. I don't know if B-Game remembers any of this shit. I remember the boots used to come out and on the catwalk and watch us just kill each other and choke each other out in the fucking volleyball court and sand pit. But yeah, B-Game and me got into it in a room, and I'm not me and B-Game, but me and Dunn got into it in a room, and man, I just started elbowing the fuck at him, and this is where he bit me. This is how I know what it feels like to be bit. And I still have a scar from it on my side. Dunn latched on to me with his fucking anaconda grip mouth and just wouldn't let fucking go. Just drawing blood on my saw, and I'm just elbowing the shit out of his head. So yeah, so Solar tried to get in between us with his broken ass legs, and I almost launched him over the catwalk. Thank God there's other Marines out there that caught him, because I just grabbed that poor tiny Marine and fucking just get the fuck out of my way, because I was trying to get to Dunn, and Dunn was trying to get to me. So yeah, just typical fucking weekend bullshit in the barracks. But yeah, so I was Skyline because of the squad leaders course, and Jackson, you're going to nominate him for anything that's going to be high speed or anything that's going to be, represent the company. You're just going to. You just can't. If he's there, you're going to. So that's what happened. So we all got promoted the February of the following year, and that was just, it happened in April. So we all got promoted to sergeant right beforehand. So what was the mood that day amongst the troops and leadership? I mean, the troops, some excitement, I guess. Some of them were very, we trained so much, and we've been doing helo ops so damn much. I don't think they were too excited. And again, they didn't tell us about the Osprey. So when it came down to finally test the Ospreys, that day, or no, I remember the day before, the command went up in them, and they came back, and they had a white look on their face when they came back from their little fucking ride. They said, it drops a little, be prepared for that. And I'm like, what does that mean, sir? Because as a CO and the first sergeant, they went, and there was a little ashen look on their face. I'm not going to lie. We all were just like, what? And so they're like, you and Jackson are going tomorrow, and your squads are going. You're representing the company. You're going to represent the Marine Corps as the first infantry unit, combat-loaded unit to test out these Ospreys. So that was what me and Jackson were given as our order and our brief. I guess we felt privileged. We hadn't even seen the Osprey yet. I really didn't even know what it looked like till I got a close-up look at it on the tarmac. I guess we were excited, me and Jackson were. By then we were kind of, not to say salty, because we were just coming to the end of our first four, but I don't remember us being like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, this is great, we're doing this shit. Me and Jackson's definitely laid back, and I was definitely by that time being laid back. So the mood amongst the troops, I guess there was some excitement that day once we finally found out it's just our squads going, and with some weapons attachments. Sorry, I'll get into that too, but the weapons attachments, we had some weapons attachments too. And some machine gunners, and no mortarmen. I don't think we had any mortarmen. I think it was just machine gunners and 51s, so 31s and 51s. So Neely and Solar had come back just for this operation, so they finally healed up, and they're no longer being called broke dicks. So they came back. Solar was with me and my squad. Neely went to Jackson's squad, and they just came back. So they were all Solar. Neely was ready to be back training, but in Solar beyond ready to be back training. He was chomping at the bit to be back, and God, yeah, he was, and he was so excited. And then, especially when he found out we got to go do the Ospreys, he was excited to do the Ospreys. I'm going to post a picture of our squad and everything. He's probably the one with the biggest smile on his fucking face. In that picture, I posted the squad on in the front of this, and at the end of this, the two squads before we took off. It's in front of 46 because the Ospreys were still classified, so they wouldn't let us take a picture in front of the Ospreys. But that picture in front of the 46 was that day on the tarmac, just a few hours beforehand. Me and Jackson were just subdued. But yeah, Neely and Solar were chomping at the bit to be back in training. So yeah, Solar was definitely excited, very excited. All right, so Jackson, like I said, me and Jackson, just calm, whatever. It's just another helo op. But the first combat infantry loaded infantry unit, combat loaded infantry unit on the Ospreys. They were trying to hype it up to us, but I still think me and Jackson were just another helo, man. At least we're not fast roping out of it. At least we're not rappelling out of it yet. We were not doing that. So we're doing it. We were just doing a normal trap mission. So I'll explain that in a little bit. So who was Private Adam Tatro? So Adam Tatro. This is a complicated story. So Tetro came over from, I believe, Lima 35, or was it Kilo 35? I'm not sure, but there was some hazing going on over there. And it was the hazing from all the guys that came in with me. So it was like, I'm not going to say their names because some of them were found guilty and went to the brig. So there was some real hazing. I mean, when me, Hunt, and Jackson hazed Marines, we did it through physical exertion, and it's thrashing. It's called thrashing. It's not hazing. We're not making you fucking do anything gross. We're not making you freaking sniff your asshole. We're not making you, put fucking shoe polish on your ball sack or anything stupid like that. We're not pissing on you or anything fucking idiotic. No. If me, Jackson, and Hunt, we're gonna thrash you. We're gonna thrash you. We're gonna make you run up to the first sergeant hill and bring us back a rock, or do a bunch of push-ups, or do the electric chair against the wall for a while. I'll throw my cowboy hat underneath, and if you squash it, your ass is grass. Just something to make you stronger. So my buddies got busted. Guys I came in with got busted for hazing, and I think Tatro was one of them. So he comes over to our unit, India Company 35, and my first sergeant, Wickham, brings me down, and that motherfucker's drinking all the time in the office. And he busts out his fucking Bushmills and offers me a shot. Of course, I'm gonna fucking take it. It's my fucking first sergeant. He used to come over to our apartment and drink with us, and every time we saw him coming with that Bushmills, we're like, oh man, I know we're having a hangover tomorrow. Fuck that. I mean, he was a hardcore infantry first sergeant. He was like 42 and he looked like 65. He drank. I mean, he fucking drank. So, so he busted out in his office, and he's telling me what's happening. He goes, his family's doing a whole congressman thing. There's a whole investigation. He's being hazed, so they're sending him over here. We need you to, correct him and get him fixed, make him a Marine, lock him on. I'm like, well, in my head, and I don't even know if I think I said it the first time. I probably did say it to the first time because, he would have let me talk freely. And I was like, well, why the fuck am I getting nominated for this shit? And so it turns out that my recruiter, who remembered me because I graduated company honor, man, and it got him recruiter of the year, I guess, he recruited the same kid and then recommended me to command in the congressman, I guess, from Texas, and they mentioned my name, dropped the fuck out of me. So I got Tatro, and I'm not saying he was not he just was a hair beat slow. That was it, man, just a hair beat slow. The dude could run like a fucking jackrabbit. He could knock out 20 pull-ups like it was nothing. Of course, crunches, everyone gave each other 100 crunches or 180 sit-ups, but I mean, physically, the dude, he can hump all day, and you give him anything, he can fucking, physically, he just was there. Just, just a hair beat off on when, I'd give him an order or something, and, he'd get, just miss something. And now today, it'd be easy to, pick up on and, say, oh shit, man, hey, maybe we need to, recommend this, man. But back then, we just didn't know, and just, he got thrashed a lot, and I yelled at him a lot. I'm sure the Marines yelled at him a lot because, the squad paid, but like I said, it wasn't anything physical. The kid could do it all. Just maybe he'd forget an order or something like that, or maybe a piece of gear for an inspection, it's just something. Or, maybe dump our packs after a hump and he just missed one piece of gear, and, platoon commander see. It's just something simple. It just was nothing major. But, probably could have worked with him better. So that haunts me to this day. And, it still haunts me that he ended up with me. Because if we didn't have the same recruiter and done all that shit, he wouldn't ended up in India Company 35. He wouldn't end up in my squad, and he wouldn't end up on the Osprey. So, I mean, that's going to haunt me for a long, long time. And I'm sure the parents are still asking all those weird questions about it. And, I'm sure they still have questions. So maybe, hopefully, they watch this. I wrote them a letter. It's going to be in one of the books. I talk about the Osprey Crash in detail in the second book. It's coming out. So, so I'm just trying to get this off my chest before, I can't. Who knows? Everyone's getting older nowadays, so who knows? It's been a rough year, so I'm just trying to get this out there and let everyone, figure out what happened. And I really want to exonerate those pilots, those Marine pilots. So it's just another reason to do it. So that was Tatro. He ended up with us just because of a hazing incident, and the whole congressman got involved, and my recruiter got involved, and my first sergeant stuck him with me, and just said, you need to fix them. And so I tried my, and he, like I said, he didn't need much fixing. There was much worse than Tatro. But that's who he was, and that's how he ended up with me. What happened during the long wait on the tarmac? The mission kill roster. Okay, it's going to get complicated again. All right, so we ended up at the tarmac, briefed that we're going to do the Ospreys, and so normal grunt stuff. You're going to sit there and you're going to rehearse your mission, and again, it was a trap mission, so that means tactical recovery of aircraft personnel, which is weird because first squad during the Fallujah offensive would secure a downed Cobra because of the surface to air missile launcher we found, and again, another thing that Morales' team found, and even in my brief it says it was still warm, so we secured a Cobra, so we actually did trapment. So I actually, it's weird how my past just came out to replay itself in Iraq. But yeah, so tactical recovery of aircraft personnel. So that's what we were doing. So we were rehearsing all that crap. Normal grunt rehearsals, they last hours, but it was hot as balls. So it's Yuma, right? And even in April, Yuma was hot as balls. It was over 100. And so, and this is another reason why I knew that platoon commander was going to be great. And, after hours of doing rehearsals and, drinking water and doing more rehearsals, we had it down pat. And he decided, it's time, let's get these Marines into some shade. And he called off the rehearsals, and, we needed to rest in the shade for a bit. And that's what we did. We went in the hangars because we were supposed to do a day mission. And shit was going wrong with the Ospreys. They couldn't get it. I don't know what was happening, but they were having mechanical problems, technical problems. Everything was going wrong. They kept being, another hour. Another 2 hours. Another this. Hurry up and wait type shit. So, again, we just didn't know, and we didn't know. But yeah, they kept telling us there was technical issues, a mechanical problem. They're just fixing this, they're fixing that. So it didn't really dawn on us because we were tired. We're grunts, man. We really don't give a shit what we're on. Let's get to the mission. Let's get it over with. Let's come back, and then let's get ready to do the next one. Or it's just you train hard, you play hard. That's what it is. So that's what it is. That's the life of being a grunt. Yeah, he called it off, and that's why we knew. Yeah, the kill roster. And just the kill roster. So the platoon commander comes up with the kill roster, and I talk about this in the books. He comes up with the kill roster. So me and Jackson get the kill roster. It is fucked up. It is fucked up, and I've never seen a kill roster like this, and neither did Jackson. So we get the kill roster, and our squads are mixed up. They're half with me, and half of Jackson's squad's over there, half of my squad's over there with this, with the team leaders, Neely and Solar, and then the rest of the squad's with us, and then, attachments are all over the place, and it didn't make sense, because, you want to keep squad integrity, especially when you're landing in helos, because helos are not going to land close together, so running all the way across a couple hundred meters to go catch up with my squad and get them in a position made no damn sense. Jackson was the same way. He's like, this is not, we're going to have to be running all over the goddamn place to get our fucking team. This didn't make any sense. And so me and Jackson were talking about it, and it's like, yeah, there's no fucking way this is going to work. Yeah. And this is our first time on an Osprey, so like a 53 and a 46, we would know how to exit, no problem. We'd have it down pat like this, and so maybe it was possible to get to our troops real quick and in a hurry, just no fucking problem, and just grab them back and get squad integrity again real quick. It was going to be tough, but maybe we could do it off a 46 or a 53, but but we'd never been off an Osprey, so we didn't know what it was going to be like. We looked at the kill rosters, and it was messed up. And I remember, Sergeant Alvarez was there. He was my original platoon commander when I came into the fleet as a boot. I went to Bridgeport, Mount Morford Training Center with him as my platoon commander. I was the boot. He's the one that gave me the 300-foot rope and the saw at the same time, dickhead. But he was a great man and great leader, and I caught up to him in rank, and he was pissed about that because he remembers being, I was a boot POC. And I caught up to him rank, and man, when I walked the gauntlet, man, oh, he was at the end waiting for me with a smile, just kneed the fucking shit out of both my legs and thighs, in my thighs, and then elbowed the fuck out of my arms. And man, I crumpled at the end because it was the end of the gauntlet. I mean, he was just waiting. He knew. He's kind of like Staff Sergeant Ruiz that kind of had that back when it was close combat instructors course before all this McMap shit. But yeah, he had those kind of certs. So yeah, he knew where to hit me with elbows and knees. But yeah, the kill roster was all fucked up. So me and Sergeant Jackson went and talked to the platoon commander, Lieutenant Kennedy, and he understood. He goes, "Yeah, I fucked it up. I'm sorry." And that's just another example of a great platoon commander admitting his faults. I mean, if I had Lieutenant Kennedy in Iraq, they're just. I mean, that would have put Bravo to a new fucking height if 2nd Platoon had Lieutenant Kennedy. I mean, holy shit, that would have put Bravo to a new height. Yeah, immediately knew he fucked up on the kill roster. And he goes, "Oh, don't worry about it. I already turned it into command. Well, next time, I got you guys." "Yes, sir. Yes, sir." Me and Jackson were amazed. "Oh, it's awesome. Yes, sir." We got you, sir. We'll make it work. We'll get on the ground. We'll make it work. We're gonna run as fucking fast as we've ever fucking ran with full gear on. But me and Jackson are gonna make it work. We're not gonna let you down on this op, sir. No fucking way. We're not gonna make you look bad. So we were motivated. We were definitely, because we knew he was a good platoon commander. We were not gonna make him look bad at all. Me and Jackson were gonna go above and beyond to, keep him around because he was good. All right, so that was the kill roster. So talk about loading up the crew chief and why were the sticks switched. Oh, so here we go. Now pay attention. Here's where all the mystery and everything happens. Okay, so loading up. Me and Jackson, and another thing with the kill roster, you don't have me and Jackson together. You can't have the two squad leaders, and then you can't have the next senior man. Which would be the weapons, Sergeant Alvarez. He was in charge of the weapons, and he went with the platoon commander. I get that, but it should have been one of the squad leaders with the platoon commander, and squad integrity, and one of the squad leaders with the platoon commander, and me and maybe one of the squad leaders with Sergeant Alvarez. So I mean, we both have knowledge of the situation, and he's senior ranking too. And then if something happened, like a bird going down, and the mission needs to continue, we knew how to do it. You don't want to put two squad leaders on a bird in case it goes down. You just lose the command of your squads. I mean, you need someone to carry on. And in that situation, we didn't have platoon sergeant, so the next up would have been me, and next in command. So you really wanted to keep it squad integrity, and you wanted to keep it either or, me or Jackson. You never want to put me and Jackson on the same one at the same time. But so we're loading up, and of course I load up on tail end Charlie, the very last load up, and it's as I'm loading up. I'm going to tell you this again. As I'm loading up, the crew chief, a corporal, he goes, "I wouldn't get on this bird if I were you, Sergeant." I'm going to say this again. I come running past the load up onto the ramp. He's standing at the ramp. I'm going past him. Jackson's ahead of me. Everyone's loading up. And he goes, "I won't get on this bird if I were you, Sergeant." I didn't know what to make. I laughed it off. I didn't know what to make of it. I tapped Jackson, we're getting seated, and did you hear that shit? I just like, "Jackson, did you hear that shit?" "I won't get on this bird if I were you, Sergeant." How do you respond to that? Jackson, did you hear that shit? And you're, I mean, I really didn't ponder on it too much. I just was amazed by the statement. And then looking back on it, I don't know what those men went through, because originally the two Ospreys flew from Lejeune, went to Quantico to pick up the Quantico guy, and then flew from Quantico to meet us in Yuma. I don't know what happened from there to Yuma. Who knows what kind of problems that were going on, what kind of flight trouble was happening. That crew chief was Yeah. He tried. He fucking tried. I hope. Yeah, he tried. And I hope he's listening to me. Yeah. He tried. And it was just, I couldn't believe the statement. Really, I really couldn't. So we're loading up and we're getting comfortable in the Ospreys. It's bullshit. First thing me and Jack said, this is bullshit. They can handle 25 loaded, fucking combat loaded Marines. I mean, it was just, some weapons attachments in each of half of our squads, just sitting there. And I mean, we were cramped. I remember that. It was cramped. But it was different because it was all kind of padded, kind of covered up everything. Because in the 6s and the 46s and the 53s, you had a lot of shit exposed. I'm thinking any of this shit can pop, we're all going down. But in the 46s, I remember it being padded on the inside. Or somewhat padded. But we're getting comfortable and trying to do as much as we can. Weapons down, barrels down, muzzles down. We're sitting there. Again, hurry up and wait. So we're sitting there for a while. I don't know how long we're sitting there on the tarmac, and we're all in our Kevlars and shit, and all our gear. And it's Yuma, so it's hot, but it's it's coming dusk and it's getting nightfall, and we're sitting there, and I mean it's not nightfall yet, but it's dusk. You can still see and stuff. So we're sitting there. I don't know how long we're sitting there for, and then all of a sudden the crew chief taps me on the shoulder and he goes, "Get off! You guys got to go to the other Osprey, the other bird." And I'm looking at him, and he goes, "You just need to go." I'm like, "Yeah, Roger that." And so when we're getting off and we're filing off single file this way, and the other squad, half the squad and half the Jackson squad and Lieutenant Kennedy and Sergeant Alvarez have to come back. So we're all single file this way. We're all single file. We're passing each other on the tarmac. Right by each other, smiling like this same old fucking Marine Corps. What a clusterfuck. Hurry up and fucking wait. Blah blah. We're all bitching to each other, but smiling. We were used to this. It's typical shit. Past him, just walked right by him. Solar smiling. Everyone's smiling. Neely smiling. Lieutenant Kennedy, and we're both just giving him a mock salute just as we're walking by him. So they go get on there, and I wonder if that crew chief warned one of them. I wonder if and I'm sure Lieutenant Kennedy would have been the last one aboard, because he would have been one to be the first one off. So I wonder if that crew chief warned him too. So we get on that other bird that they were on, and come to find out. So I don't know if they told us that right then and there, but I was like, "Why did they switch us?" I asked the other crew chief, and I asked the other crew chief, and I'm like, "Why did they switch us?" And he goes, "Because the guy from Quantico, the intel officer or whoever was there, his laptop wouldn't work on the other Osprey, and so his computer was only working on this one." And I think me and Jackson looked at it. He's like, "Why didn't you just switch that motherfucker? Why do you need to switch both sticks?" And then I think they told us because the kill rosters were already submitted, so you had to keep everybody together. He was already on our kill roster. They just didn't want to do a whole switching of one person. One person switched the whole stick. A computer switched the whole stick. So that's why we were switched. A computer, because it didn't work, and the kill rosters were already turned in. Yeah, I hope someone's fucking cured cancer from our stick, because it ain't me. I turned out to be a piece of shit. I don't know who in our stick it's been blessed. So that's why the sticks were switched. How was the flight to the objective? The flight to the objective, we get up to altitude, and this is when they say it drops. So I wasn't expecting it, but when they switch from helicopter mode so it's nightfall now, so when we finally take off. So when they switch to helicopter mode of altitude to plane mode on the Ospreys to go like this, it drops and goes. It's like a little roof. So yeah, it drops about 100 feet, I think it drops about 100 feet or 150 feet. That was a little unexpected. But now I know what I meant when they said it dropped when it switched. So it goes into plane mode, and we're just, it's over. So it's not pressurized. So we're probably cruising about 10,000 feet, but it's not pressurized up there. So our ears are popping. It sucked. We're all yawning, trying to pop our ears and all sorts of shit. And I'm at the tail end, so I can still see out the ramp, and I can see the other Osprey kind of darting in the back, just seeing its lights and stuff. I can see it darting in and out of my view in the back. It's, I mean, besides the ear popping and shit, I don't know. It's kind of like a normal helo ride. Maybe kind of like a C-130. I don't know. It just seemed normal. So, yeah, that was it. Its ears popping. It wasn't pressurized, and just staring out at the other Osprey darting in and out of my vision at the back. That was all I remember from the flight over there. So coming in, so the next question is, describe the actual crash of the two Ospreys. So we're approaching our target is target objective where we're going to do the trap mission is a civilian actual civilian airport. It's in Marana, Arizona. So it's a tiny little civilian airport. I forgot the name of it, but that's what we're doing. So that's where we're going, to an actual civilian airport at 0 dark 30. So we're flying in. Remember, this is the first ever use of combat infantry loaded Marines. So, I mean, there'd already been one Osprey crash, but it'd just been pilots, and that'd been, I think, 2 years prior. I don't know how many years prior, but we didn't know anything about an Osprey crash beforehand. They didn't tell us any of that shit. So everything was still classified, I believe. So, I mean, no one knew shit. So we're coming in, and I remember we get the signal, 2 minutes out, and to get ready to switch from plane mode to helicopter mode. I don't know how it fucking works. I don't know the science behind the fucking Osprey. I'm glad I don't. But they're saying 2 minutes out, and I'm looking out the back. So I'm coming in. I'm looking at the back. Sergeant Jackson's right here next to me, and I'm at the very tail end. I'm looking out the back, and I'm looking down, and the ground's coming up too fucking fast. It's coming up way too fucking fast. And we've been doing helo ops, so I know helo ops, and I know how fast you need to be coming in to have a safe landing and get the fuck out of a ramp. The ground was just... I turned to Jackson, and that immediately my first reaction was to Jackson. We're coming in too fucking fast. And as soon as I said that, boom, we hit. And we hit the tarmac, and the fucking sirens are going off. The fucking ramp, the crew chief hit, I don't know if he hit the button or the ramp just came down, but the ramp just came down. It was just like skidding on tarmac. You could hear it scraping against concrete. The crew chief just looks at, his eyes are wide open. Get the fuck out! Get the fuck out! We're bouncing across, the Osprey is bouncing across the tarmac. So here's what you guys don't realize. There was 2 crashes that day. One just blew up. 2 crashed, 1 blew up. And I told you about the switch. So we're skidding across the tarmac, and it's just, the Osprey's just bouncing across it. And the crew chief, get the fuck out, get the fuck out. We go bailing out. I mean, and to this day, and I used to take this out on some of the troops. I mean, the sound of Kevlar's hitting, even the sound someone drops a Kevlar on the fucking parade deck, that was the sound that I heard, was the Kevlar's just rolling by their own because they're falling off our heads. And because we're bailing out, I just remember the sound of rifles hitting the deck, and just because we're rolling out, we're just rolling out onto this fucking tarmac. All of us are just bailing the fuck out, and so the senior leadership on that was just me and Jackson, So as soon as I stop rolling, everyone stops rolling. I pick up, I see this fucking massive fireball, massive. It is a true mushroom cloud of just pure fire. There's no smoke. There's nothing. It's just fire. It is a fireball. And immediately I'm thinking pyro. I think, wow, Marine Corps' gone all out for this shit. Holy crap. I got pyro here. Just seemed like, maybe insurgents showing up or what's happening. And then it dawns on me. I don't see the shadows against I don't see the shadows against the skyline of the flame lighting up the night sky. I don't see skylines or silhouettes of men running. I don't see my men that I'm supposed to start gathering up. And I know Jackson, goddamn, was thinking the same fucking thing. I don't see my men. That was my first thought. I was like, I don't see my men. And then, and I'm going to swear by this, and I'll tell you later when I first started, shut me down. But that's when I heard the screams. I heard screams. They don't have crash fire rescue at that tiny ass airport, so no fucking rescue personnel were there. No one was there. We were the only ones fucking there. India Company 3-5, fucking first squad, second squad, first platoon, and attachments from weapons were the only fucking ones there. The pilot and the crew chiefs. The crew chief. Only ones there. So, yeah, I heard the screams of the fire. So apparently when that one crashed and belly skid, it caught on fire and blew. So I don't know what happened. I don't know the actual logistics of it. I don't know if they had a black box or what. I don't know. But it cannot be pilot fucking error when two of them crash. How is that pilot fucking error when two crash? Explain that to me. There's 4 fucking pilots. 2 in each bird. How is that pilot error if 2 crash? 1 blows up. I don't know. That's not pilot error in my book, and I hope the families are vindicated, because it is not. I was there. I know what happened. So yeah, I heard the screams. They died quickly. The screams died out quickly. So I turned to Jackson, and I think I lose it for a split second. I'm like, what the fuck are we going to do? And then Jackson was in shock. He's just staring straight ahead. And then we just got everybody off the fucking... I think the pilots came out of the other Osprey and said, we need to get you guys off. Let's go. So we all got off, and in case the other one blew up, because they were telling us, get off, because the other one's going to blow up. The other one's going to blow up. So me and Jackson gathered everybody up, all the, the boots, and we gathered them all up. And we run into one of the hangars that house all these little tiny, because it's a tiny ass airport. It just houses these little Cessnas and these private planes. So we go hiding on the side of one of those just in case the other Osprey blows up, and we're kind of protected, because the buildings, the sheet metal hangars are there, and we just sit there all watch this fireball. That's all we can do. Just watch the fireball burn. We just watch it burn. So we're sitting out there just watching it burn. No one's getting there. They don't have crash fire rescue. So it takes, the nearest town is Tucson, Arizona, to come out there. So we're hearing the sirens finally start. It's been an hour at least. Yeah. So, yeah, it's an hour. So you hear them finally show up. So they get in there, the fire trucks and crash fire rescue, or they don't have crash fire rescue. There's just a hazard. Hazmats and all that stuff. So they get in there and they start, doing their thing, putting it out. They finally put it out. I mean, the screams died out a long time ago, but eventually, I don't know how long after that, we just sit there and watch them do their job and put it out eventually. And then we sit there and stare at the smoldering wreckage, trying to pick out our friends, trying to see if we can see bodies. We just stared at it, just stared at the wreckage. That's all we could do. It was like nothing. Yeah, it was just nothing. It was just black. Covered in all that shit they sprayed on it, but it was just black. I just remember that. It was black. So, I don't know how long it took, but our command gets out there. But of course, man, there is a fucking high-ranking, I want to say JAG officer, but I don't know where he came from, but he was definitely on the intel side. And he was there. I think he was a major or, maybe a lieutenant colonel. He showed up with our command, and so they huddled us all into the. They opened up the diner, some shithole coffee house diner at that airport, and they opened up the diner, and we all just sit around these little diner tables and just sitting there, each one getting called into the back storeroom of the diner. We go in there, and there's this little table with a landline on it and a chair, and then that lieutenant colonel or major's sitting right there. And I remember looking up the stores. There's canned beans or canned whatever food right there, and there's this little, looked like a 1970s linoleum table with a landline on, just back before cell phones. So landline, and it was my turn to go in there, and so I go in there, and the major or whoever it is, the officer, the intel officer, he goes, "All right, you get one call to your next kin. That's it. You get one call. They don't have the number, so you better remember the number in your head." And you got 20 seconds when you call them. So I call my mom because she was my next of kin. So I happened to remember her number, and I called her, and I was in my head, I'm thinking, please don't answer. Please don't answer. Of course she fucking answers, because it's 0 dark 30, and she's worried. So I answer, and I remember him briefing us on what to say. And so this is what I told her, like, Mom, whatever you hear on the news, I'm alive, I'm okay. And she goes, what's happening, what's wrong? I was like, I can't say anymore. That's all I can say. I'm alive and I'm okay. And then he's behind on the phone, just, and I go, Mom, I love you, and I'll contact you as soon as I can. Click. I couldn't even hear her say goodbye. I just had to click. So that's what happened. We had to tell our next of kin, no matter what you hear on the news, we're okay. Because the original kill roster was being released with us dead. So my stick was dead. So those poor parents of the actual victims of those Marines that died had that glimmer of hope that their son was still alive, and it wasn't their son, it was the other son's. So how does that translate? I couldn't imagine being in that position. I really couldn't imagine being in that position. I have no idea what that would have been like. That glimmer of hope that it's your son that's still alive, and not, but then you feel bad, but you're just glad that, but then it gets switched hours later that it's your son that's dead, when you had that glimmer of hope for a few hours. So that's what we had to do. We had to tell our parents, our next of kin. I don't know how it went with the other guys. I forgot what they said. But after we do that, we get huddled back in there, and I remember all the guys looking at me and Sergeant Jackson just like, hey, Sergeant Park, Sergeant Jackson, are we going to have to go back on a helicopter? They're going to make us go back on a helicopter? And we're like, I don't want to. I don't know. And me and Sergeant Jackson are like, I don't fucking think so. I don't think so. I don't think they make us do that shit. We'll say something if they do. That's what me and Jackson was saying. We'll say something. Because we were that type of squad. We will say something if they do. But we didn't think they would. So that ends. My first sergeant and CO pull me outside. I don't know what they say to Sergeant Jackson. I'm sure they say something to him later. But they pull me outside, and they're like, Sergeant Parks, what's going on? How do you feel? And I'm like, sir, I just want to drink this night out of my fucking memory. That's what I told my commanding officer and first sergeant. And my first sergeant was like, he patted me on the shoulder. He goes, I absolutely understand, Sergeant Parks. And we'll get to that. And that's what he told me. And so, I right then and there, I go, first sergeant, I want to escort Tatro home. And he goes, you got it. Not a fucking second between us. I said, first sergeant, I want to escort Tatro home. You got it, Sergeant Parks. It wasn't even hesitation on either one of our parts. Not a fucking hesitation. 0 dark 30. So that was settled right away. Who was escorting Tatro home? So I remember them. So the CO and first sergeant eventually come back and say the Air Force is going to guard the remains. Me and Jackson, fuck no, that's not fucking happening, first sergeant, sir. Not a fucking chance. No fucking Air Force bubba is going to sit there and stand post and stand watch over our guys. Not a fucking chance in hell. Me and Jackson volunteered on the fucking spot. We're standing. We're not fucking going anywhere. No fucking Air Force guy is going to stand watch over dead Marines. Ain't fucking happening. Jackson knives. Nope. Not happening. And first sergeant CEO goes, listen, we understand everything. Give us a second. So what they did was they got back to India Company, and they flew fucking on a 53. They flew out a bunch of my buddies. They flew out Dunn. Dunn stood watch. I forgot who else stood watch, but Dunn. I remember him telling me that he spent the whole night on watch, circling that crash of that Osprey Crash, that wreckage. He spent that whole night trying to figure out which one was me. Which burnt body was mine. He spent that whole 12 hours post. Him and the other guy. Trying to figure out who was who. And he was looking for me, because me and him were best friends. I mean, like I said, he was the one who gave me my name, Parks. So, yeah, there's no fucking way Air Force was going to watch dead Marines. Not a fucking chance in hell. That you would have seen, no. Jackson and I would not have left that airfield. But Dunn and the rest came in and took it over. And so Dunn didn't even see me when I was there. So he still thought I was dead all night. He didn't find out I was alive until the next day. So that's what happened. Let's see what the next question. Oh yeah, talked about that. All right, so here's describe the flight back to Yuma on the 53. What awaited the survivors upon returning? Okay, so yeah, that same 53 that brought in Dunn and all them was taking us back. So First Sergeant and CO said he got us all together, all of us survivors, the weapons attachments and the 2 half squads, and said, you guys are going to get on that fucking helicopter, get on that 53, and we're heading back. And all of us couldn't move. We just frozen. And he just looked at us and he goes, Sergeant Parks. He goes, Sergeant Parks, Sergeant Jackson, get him on fucking 53. Roger that, First Sergeant. Roger that, sir. Sergeant Jackson turned to the guys. Get on the fucking 53. So they just looked at us with terror in their eyes. Terror in their eyes. Waiting for us to do something to save them. Terror in their eyes. Sergeant Jackson and I just get on the fucking 53. So they got on the fucking 53, and so did we. You know, both. Of course, again, I'm telling Charlie. 2 refused. A corpsman and a team leader. We didn't like him. I mean, I'd say his name because it's hilarious and how we made fun of him. We hated him the whole time. He's one of those embassy bubbas that showed up at 2 years of corporal and think they know shit and think they know all that infantry shit when they should actually go their first 2 years in the fleet instead of embassy duty. When they pick up corporal, then they ship out for embassy duty. But no, they always come in from embassy duty because they're infantry, and they come in from embassy duty, but they don't do any infantry time as boots, and they just think because they have the rank, they know all that shit. So that was that team leader, and I think he was in Jackson's squad. But he refused. Him and a corpsman, and we didn't like the corpsman either. He, you know, most, like I said, my fleet corpsmen sucked, most of them, unless they were going to try to be Navy SEALs eventually. You know, our fleet corpsmen sucked. So like the ones I went to Iraq with was just fucking amazing. I was shocked by the quality and the level of corpsmen we went to Iraq with. But yeah, a corpsman and team leader refused. They got put in a van. So I'll tell you about it in a second. So the rest of us were terrified. We get on 53. There's 2 that went in a van. They didn't go back to Yuma. They went straight to the Camp Pendleton brig. So yeah, you know, it's weird how my past comes back to play out in Iraq. Yeah, they went straight to the Camp Pendleton brig, and we never saw them again. So we're on 53, flying back. Every bump, every turbulent bump, everything. All of us were white knuckling it, just white knuckling it. And our first sergeant and our CO kept looking at each other and looking at us, just shocked. And they're just like, they look like parents that just done fucked up. They looked at like, oh shit, we put our kids in some fucking weird position that they're going to get them killed. But yeah, we were fucking puckered up, and just every little bump, every little thing, just. So we land right out by our GP tents out in the middle of the fucking desert. So the whole company, like I said, the kill roster was turned in. So originally it was me and Jackson were dead, and the guys that were with us were dead, not the other way around. So the guys at the India company, in B-Game was there. The guys at the India company just looked at us like, holy fucking shit, we're seeing ghosts, walking fucking dead. And I'm screaming, you know, like, get in fucking formation, you know. So everyone's getting in fucking formation. They think I'm a ghost screaming. So we get in formation, and the first sergeant and CO give a speech, let everyone know what happened, how we're alive and the other one's dead. He gives that speech, and the CO gives a speech, and saying we're going home tomorrow. Because we had like another week and a half, 2 weeks of training. Obviously the Osprey program's getting shut down, but for a little bit. Yeah, we were going. India company was done. CO called it. He's like, no, we're not sticking around for any more fucking training. We're pulling the plug on this one. So we had a good CO at the time. And so, lo and behold, as soon as he breaks the formation after his speech, lo and behold, I don't know how they got him out there. I don't know what fucking happened, but They opened up the liquor store on the base, on Yuma base. You know, grunts can't go on base, but they opened up the fucking liquor store, and I don't know how many kegs are out there. I don't know how many bottles of booze are on the fucking tables. I don't know how many different types of, there's ice, everything. You know, we're in the middle of fucking Yuma desert. You know, none of us, we ain't showered, we ain't done nothing. Ice. There's ice for our fucking liquor. Vodka, tequila, 151, rum, Jack Daniels, bourbon, Jim Beam. Of course, First Sergeant has Bushmills, bottles of Bushmills. And there's like 4 or 5 kegs. And the First Sergeant said, turn fucking 2. You ain't got to tell those twice. Us fucking survivors were all over. No one fucking moved. India Company did not fucking move until us survivors went over there and started pouring our own shit. No one moved. Not until we poured our own fucking shit first. You know, me and Jackson, of course, let the troops go first. Then we got ours. As soon as me and Jackson had ours, that's when India Company flooded over. And we got fucking destroyed in the middle of the Yuma desert. Fucking destroyed. We went to the extremes to erase that night. It didn't work, but we went to the extremes to almost the point of fucking death. I know me and Jackson just put it down. And so, like all the survivors, like all those sergeants and team leaders and corporals, you know, of course, you know, everyone's going to eventually break up. The non-rate's going to go that way and talk about their shit, and you know, because you know the boots were all together and they're crying their fucking shit because they're having their memories. And then all of us corporals or NCOs and sergeants, corporals, you know, because of Neely and Solar, we are doing our own shit and talking about all that shit. And I just remember talking about the screams, you know, hearing the screams. And my first sergeant heard me talking about that, and he goes, Sergeant Parks, shut it down now. Yeah, roger that, first sergeant. You got it. And didn't speak of it again. I just fucking kept drinking. We always kept drinking. So the next day, man, we were all. So my platoon sergeant, who again, who yelled at me for not, you know, the reenlistment bonus, and then I'd see him in Iraq later. We were kind of impartial to him. I mean, he had his quirks, but he's locked on. But he understood. But he let us. Everyone kind of slept in with a fucking hangover till like mid-afternoon. Then we had to break down the whole camp. So we kind of sweated all that shit out. But we reeked on the way back, so we drove back to Pendleton. So we get back to Pendleton. I'll describe it. So we get set up to. So we start figuring out who's going to escort who home. You know, a lot of guys. Solar is going to get escorted by Harib. We call him Herb, but his name's Harib. They came in together. You know, they were just really tight all the way through because they, you know, like I said, Solar's group came in 6 months prior. Harib was one of them, and they were just like really tight. He was going to escort him home. Like I said, I had Tatro just because of the shit I gave him. I just felt it was the only right thing to do. And he was, I think he was my youngest too. He was definitely the you know, private, you know, so he's the lowest rank. And then, you know, like Neely Maxwell took home. So we got the NCOs covered, and I don't know who the troops took over, who home, but I took Tatro. So all of us we leave Pendleton together. So the next question is, can you describe the process of escorting the bodies home? Dover, each stop, and finally arrival at the funeral home. Can you describe the process of escorting the bodies home? So, yeah, right. So we leave Pendleton. We all fly out to Dover. The bodies are already there. They already got transported there. So we're just hanging out in Dover Air Force Base. It's in Delaware, I believe, or Maryland, one of the two. I don't know which ones. Aren't they the same fucking thing? I don't know. So we're sitting out at Dover Air Force Base. Of course, we're getting fucked up. I mean, fucked up. I mean, us sergeants and corporals are hanging out with the troops, and, you know, we're going to local bars getting fucked up, and people are trying to steer clear of us because we're fucked up. You know, talking shit. Any of the local dudes started saying anything. it got escalated quick because when you're there, you got to wait for the bodies to get processed. So you're getting so once one body's processed, whoever that escort is, they'll leave, but the others we're still on the base hotel, so we're just still night by night just getting fucked up, just remembering everybody and just we were fucked up. We did not represent well, unless it was intimidating the locals and just scaring the piss out of dudes, just talking shit, but because grunts are a pack animal. I may have got my ass kicked, but the guy might have got one punch, but because he's the pack animal, and the grunts are just going to destroy him. So I feel sorry for we did take it out on the local area, so we got fucked up. Got fucked up in the hotel. Everyone just fucked, and people just left us alone because it's just like they already knew why we were there. I mean, it was making national news and all that shit. So eventually, I think Tetro's best friend or something was helping me escort Tetro home. So, but anyway, I took charge. Obviously, I took charge as a sergeant. So I just remember, we leave Dover. It's my turn to leave. We head out, because you got to be at the body at all times. So you go, you don't go to the normal airport part. You go, you got orders, you got all this shit, and you got all these paperwork, and you show it to everybody. But you go to the hangar where the body is. You sit there, and you do not leave it out of your fucking sight. And as soon as they land, they have to let you off first because we're in our blues and we have the morning bands on our rank. So they have to let you off first, so you can go down there when the body's offloaded. Each layover and each stop. So that's what they did. They let me off first, and so I'd sit in the hangars. So I'd sit there. It's like that movie Taking Chance. If you ever see it, watch it. That's how it is to escort a body home. You will sit in the hangar, and you will sit there with that box. And then you'll go over every little fucking wrong thing you did with Tetro. You'll sit there, and it'll haunt you, especially at nighttime. So I remember we do the stops, and we escorted all the way to the funeral home, and then me and that dude, I think we took watch. Someone was, watch. Someone would stay at the funeral home. Even though we turned it over to the funeral director and he's got to do his thing, I think we still stood watch. One of us, we would take turns being there. So the funeral home. So you go to the funeral. It's the normal Marine Corps funeral, 21 gun salute. Folding the flag, the taps, all that. Yeah, it was folded by a local reserve unit. We didn't. Me and the escort didn't partake. We just stood off the side and did our hand salutes and all that. So they had like a reception afterwards. The family did, and that's when I got to meet the parents of Tetro. And remember I was talking about that glimmer of hope. They just look at you with that, like you robbed them of that glimmer of hope. You're alive, and you robbed them of that glimmer of hope. Because you were originally supposed to be dead. And you're his squad leader. Why are you alive and my boy is not? You're the squad leader. It makes me wonder if Jackson had the same experience when he escorted one of his troops home. So I know he did. And I think he did the lowest ranking one too, the youngest one. But I never really talked to Jackson about it afterwards. I think we kind of ignored it when we got back together and started drinking. So yeah, that was what the funeral was like. I just got you want to talk about a stare. Yeah, so everything just played. And I know Tetro must have wrote him or called him about me. That was the look I got, because it seemed like they knew every horrible thing I did to their son to thrash him. He had just come from getting hazed at another unit just to come get to another dickhead. I didn't haze him, but, I thrashed him. I made him do physical exertion just to try to lock him on. Just because I was pissed off. My name getting dropped. Him just missing a few little things. So, yeah, he didn't deserve it. So, that's the look I got. That they knew that I wasn't much better than where he came from. The unit he came from before. So, man, that impacted me a lot. That would lead to my changes with my guys going into Iraq. yeah, I would change my leadership style. I would start absorbing other people's leadership styles because of that. Finally, how has a crash had a lasting impact on your life, and what do you make of the uncanny circumstances surrounding the survival of your helo stick? I'm terrible at plane rides. I mean, that's to be expected. I suck. I suck at turbulence. I'm a terrible traveler on the plane. That's the only real, I mean, that's the lasting thing. I mean, I'll have dreams, but, and sometimes, man, those dreams, it's like my squad from Iraq is on the Osprey Crash. It's weird. It'll freak me out. It's like my squad from Iraq is on the Osprey Crash, and we're going in too fast, and it's like I'm about to lose my. It's just that's the thing. I mean, that shit interspersed dreams. So you got a lot of experience. A lot of Marines have experienced dreams, and it's just I just never really I really wish I had a chance to talk to Sergeant Jackson about it. And me and him, we just avoided it when we got back. We just avoided it for the rest of our time in. We just never talked about it. We just drank ourselves up. And anyone talked about the Osprey, we just drank ourselves into stupor. Drinking. Me and Jackson never, I would give anything to sit down and talk to him about it. Because me and him, we never once sat there and talked and hashed it out and gone over everything that night. From the crew chief warning me, to me saying we're coming in too fast, to the kill roster, me and him never once, ever again talked about it. Not about Lieutenant Kennedy or nothing. We never again. Me and him, never. And one of these days, I'd like to track him down and talk to Sergeant Jackson. And me and him figure it out. And just, wow. Yeah, so, make it the uncanny circumstances surrounding the survival of your helo stick. Yeah, the switching of the sticks. The last second, the whole stick just for a computer, in the kill rosters. Like I said, I hope someone's curing something or about to come up with something to make world peace just a reality. I don't know. Everyone a happier person, because I damn sure didn't do anything. I mean, I became a fucking drunk. I'm not blaming the Marine Corps for that shit. I took drinking to the extreme. I treated the Marine Corps like a fraternity, just a fraternity house, just fucking, no. I mean, I didn't become nothing. And I hope someone on that stick is doing something beneficial. That's what I make of that. It's just weird how it just happened right before. And we pass each other right on the line, flight line. Smiles. Solar smiles, Neely smiles, Lieutenant Kennedy smiles. Sergeant Alvarez brother smiles too. It's just, yeah. It's just that's all. That's the perfect word for it. Uncanny. So obviously God has a plan. I don't know what that plan is. It just, I hope I lived mine out. I don't. Yeah, I just really don't have an explanation for why we were switched sticks. I don't understand. But I do want to say this. It was not fucking pilot error. There's no goddamn way. Alright, so I'm going to read off the names. I'm going to try to say, if I remember them, I'll try to say something about them. But I'm going to read off the name of the Marines that died that day. April 8th, 2000 on the Osprey Crash. First ever combat loaded infantry unit use of the Osprey Crash. On the Osprey Crash. So, combat loaded Marines for India Company 3-5. So just remember that India Company 3-5 was the first ever infantry to be on the Osprey. Alright. So, from India Company. Second Lieutenant Clayton Kennedy. Like I said, he was just going to be amazing. I wish he would have. If he'd have made it to Iraq, or if he'd have been our platoon commander in Iraq, the sky's the limit with this guy. Sergeant Jose Alvarez. All right. Second Lieutenant Clayton Kennedy. He was 24. Sergeant Jose Alvarez, 28. He was posthumously awarded Staff Sergeant. So Sergeant Alvarez, like I said, he was my platoon commander when I came in. Weird, right? A sergeant. I remember going to Bridgeport the first major training evolution I did with him, and he was my platoon guy. He gave me a 300 fucking foot rope, and the saw. But I loved him though. He was good. He was just good hearted about everything. And it's like I said, when I caught up to him in rank, and he was he was waiting for me at the end of the gauntlet. But all he wanted was staff sergeant, and they kept passing him over because all he was a troop handler at SOI, and I think at the time they really didn't consider that a B billet. So he kept getting passed over for staff sergeant, and I think he was getting close to. I don't think they were going to let him do it again. I don't know. It was getting close, but they posthumously awarded him staff sergeant because that was all he really wanted. Me, all I wanted was gunny, but I mean, he was dead set on staff sergeant. He just knew his career could continue. All he wanted to do was continue his Marine Corps career. That's what I remember about Sergeant Alvarez. And great guy, great fucking Marine. But all he wanted to do was continue his Marine Corps career, and he needed staff sergeant to do that. And they posthumously awarded him staff sergeant, so the benefits went to his family, which was great. Corporal Adam Neely, 22. So Neely, like I said, he was injured, and we gave him so much shit. He came boot camp the same time I did. We all went to boot camp together. We all went all this through. And he was in a different platoon in boot camp, but great Marine. He came back from shoulder surgery on his labrums. Like I said, torn labrums. We didn't know. Again, we didn't know. We just gave him so much shit about it. But he was back from that. This was his first training op back. Was from shoulder surgery. Was this. So Corporal John Solar, 21. All right. So Solar. Again, I can't talk enough about him. He was my team leader. He was senior than he had seniority on me and time in service. Just knew his shit. That's all I can really say about him. Good natured guy, just knew his shit. I remember friends with me and Dunn. He always tried to break up me and Dunn in fights, and I remember so he's just a great Marine. He knew his stuff. He would have definitely led properly, given the chance. Lance Corporal Jason Duke, 28. I remember Duke. I just don't remember. I can't really comment on him. I just knew he's one of the older Marine. 28. It's not very many 28-year-old Lance Corporals in the Marine Corps. So he came in later. I just remember that because I came in at 21. He came in. I think he's 27 or something like that. 26. So. He was a later Marine. Lance Corporal Jesus Gonzalez, 27. I don't remember him. He might have been one of the weapons buffs. Lance Corporal Jorge Morin, 21. I do remember him. He was in our platoon. Lance Corporal Seth Jones, 18. PFC Kenneth Patio, 23. This kid had a bad attitude, and in the platoon photo you'll see, if you look closely, he's the one flipping off the camera. So I probably would have thrashed him if we'd made it back and saw that photo at the end. But yeah. PFC Gabriel Clevenger, 21. PFC Alfred Corona, 23. PFC George Santos, 19. PFC Kioki Santos, 24. So Kioki Santos, I remember we're doing a hump, and Sergeant Hunt was his squad leader originally. He ended up being in Jackson's squad because of this incident. So Sergeant Hunt, we're on a hump, and Sergeant Hunt was skull dragging the piss out of him up and down the mountains of Mateo. We're just all over him. If you ever seen Camp Pendleton, you'll see the ranges and the mountain, the fire breaks. That's what grunts hump all the time. So I don't know what we're on top of. I don't know, maybe it's a Recon Ridge or Sheep Shit or First Sergeant, Iron Mike, you name it. I don't remember the mountain we were on. But Hunt was skull dragging him up it, and he grabbed Hunt by the fucking flak jacket, and them two went rolling down the goddamn mountain. Hunt was trying to swing, but his rifle was getting caught, and then Santos was trying to swing at a fucking an NCO, and holy fucking shit, me and Jackson tore off both of them down the mountain, and we grabbed Santos up, and we were tempted to throw, just start throwing a beating, but because he was throwing at an NCO, and it was Hunt, and so But Hunt was like, no, fuck. So me and Jackson, no. And so we had to remove them because Hunt was going after him. And so I held Hunt back, and then Jackson took care of Santos, and then we calmed him down. And so, you have to do something. You have to set an example. But we didn't want Santos was a good Marine, so we didn't want to fry him. We didn't want to charge him with anything. We didn't want to do anything. We were going to take care of him. So me and Jackson thrashed him on the weekend. So we came in on our weekend to the barracks from our apartment, me and Jackson, and we thrashed him. And when I say thrash him, all we did was we're going to run up and down the First Sergeant Hill in our backyard a little bit. So me and Jackson would go up there with him, and we're just going to make him work that endurance. We're going to get that endurance out of him because, he's having endurance problems going up the mountains in the hump. So we're going to work that endurance out of him. And so that's what me and Jackson did. We ran up and down First Sergeant Hill with him on a weekend. And I remember him just beat the shit out of me, sergeants. Just beat the shit out of me. Because we're going up I don't know, maybe the third or fourth time we're going up First Sergeant and the First Sergeant Hill, and he just get it over with because he was hurting. And we're like, no, you can make it, Santos. We fucking believe in you. Get your fucking ass up here. You can fucking make it. You're gonna fucking prove Sergeant Hunt wrong. You're gonna get your ass up here. We're gonna make it this last fucking time. So after that, we decided, me and Jackson decided, we're going to get him at a Hunt squad, and we're going to motivate this double dog. And we put him in Jackson's squad. There's no better motivator than fucking Jackson. And Jackson, like I said, even though he was over the top and just killed everything he did, and just insane with his knowledge, and just you give him Ranger school, he's going to blow through it. If he'd have been a MARSOC, he'd have blown through that. But he was a motivator, and he cared for his Marines. So so we decided that was best for Santos to get him in there with Sergeant Jackson. That's why he was there that day, because of the compassion of Sergeant Jackson. And me and him decided it was best for him. And then last but not least, Private Adam Tatro, 19. So we know about Tatro. I talked about him. Miramar, Corporal Eric Martinez, 21. That was the crew chief that warned me. I wouldn't get on this bird if I were you, Sergeant. That's the crew chief. Corporal Eric Martinez, 21, Miramar. Oh, I take that back. I think it was. That was definitely him. It could be the next one, but I'm going to go ahead and say it was Martinez. I think I remember him. I really do think his name was Martinez that gave me the warning. But anyways, from Quantico, this is why I think it's the other one. I forgive my lapse of memory. From Quantico, Major John Brow, 39. Major Brooks Gruber, 34. Staff Sergeant William Nelson, 30. Corporal Kelly Keith, 22. So Corporal Kelly Keith would have been another crew chief. So he might have been the one that warned me. But I really do think it was Corporal Martinez. I can almost want to give a guarantee it was Corporal Martinez. But that's the names of the men that perished that day. Good Marines, no fault of their own. I don't know why the rosters were switched. The pilots were obviously in the Doom Bird from the get-go. Like I said, I don't know what happened. That's why the crew chief warned me. If it was Corporal Kelly Corporal Kelly Keith who warned me, or if it was Corporal Eric Martinez that warned me, they were trying to save us. They were trying to save us. It was an incredible day. I don't know how to make any sense of it. Still to this day, talking about it, I still cannot make any sense of it. I don't know why we were switched. It did change my leadership. I would go on, to change it up for my squad in Iraq. But that's the story of the Osprey Crash, April 8, 2000. That's the big mystery behind everything. That is why, there's that aura about me coming into Bravo Company. I know B-Game, kind of got that ball rolling with, Indian Company, Osprey Crash. So when you do think about it, just remember it was grunts on, that paid the price, as we always do. Marines, we're not expendable. there's a lot of money, blood, sweat, and tears that goes into the training and the shaping of each grunt. It's priceless. You can't replace that. Not, especially not in mental combat. You can't replace the cohesiveness of an individual Marine. You just can't. So, I mean, that's the Osprey Crash in a nutshell. I'm sure I'm forgetting stuff, but I mean, there's the big mystery. It wasn't pilot error. They continued with the Osprey program. Obviously, they're still flying them. They're still crashing. Good Marines are still dying. Marines. We're the constant. So, I mean, I hope you guys got something from that. And that's the Osprey Crash. And that's all I got. I hope you guys have a good one. And be safe out there.
Young man came from hunting, faint and weary. What is that, my lord, my dearie? Oh, brother dear, let my bed be made. Right field bright of the woody nightshade.